I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims.
The music mogul was denied bail yesterday after his arrest on sex trafficking and other charges. Prosecutors say that the charges stem from years of sexual abuse and threats against women. He has pleaded not guilty to those charges, and he made that plea yesterday.
What's happening, family? It is your man, CRB Jr., Courtney Robert Brown Jr. here at the Motown Mafia Show, of course, a Big Boss Filmworks production. Hope everybody is well and healthy and prosperous out there. Before I even get started, we hit a milestone last month, so thank you guys so much. We appreciate your support. Got some hot stuff up on our Patreon channel. We're going to talk about my brother here's Patreon channel and what he's doing. I think you guys know his face. Lifelong friend of mine. Son of the fat man, Eddie Jackson's son, Eddie Jackson Jr. How you doing, family?
Good to be home, man. Good to be home. Always good to come home.
Good to come home. You in from Florida?
Yes, I'm in from Florida.
Because you don't stay too far away from Star Island.
No, I'm right by Puffy's nonsense.
So we gonna get into all of that. I think both of us, with obviously families who've been involved in the streets and in court battles with the federal government for basically our entire lives, right?
You got it.
Some of the things that are happening, I think the public might be confused about or surprised, and it seems some of the stuff that happened probably surprised Mr. Combs, but people who had lived our lives probably wouldn't have been so surprised. So let me start off with a couple things. Let me say something that seems to have gotten lost in our culture right now. In this United States of America, a man or woman is presumed innocent until proven guilty. To get indicted, anybody's heard it, who's watched any legal show has heard people say, you can indict a ham sandwich. An indictment means a grand jury, which is 32 people, got put into a room, and they only heard one side of an argument, that coming from the government. And then the majority of the people in that room thought that the government, with no cross-examination, the person who's being proposed to be indicted is not there to defend himself, he's lawyers. That's how you get indicted. And the grand jury has come back with an indictment, which the government, and we're talking, of course, about Mr. Sean Combs and his situation. So the fact that he has been indicted does not mean that he is guilty. That's not the process. That's why we in America have a thing called the Constitution that proposes that all of us, Mr. Combs, you, me, your mom, your sister, your cousin, all of us are presumed innocent until proven guilty. That said, Mr. Jackson, me and you've been talking about this situation for a minute.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Mr. Combs is finna be introduced to the penitentiary system. Now, for Mr. Combs, he's finna be locked up 23 hours a day. And the only time he come out is 1 hour a day to shower and make phone calls. And
you don't think he'll do like a lot of rich guys do and just have lawyers come see him throughout the day so he can get out of cell?
Well, that's an hour. But that's just to see your lawyer. So now the lawyer comes see you for an hour, but to everybody else will see you when they lock down. Everybody else in the penitentiary will be locked down when Puff Daddy come out to take a shower and make his phone call.
Because everybody's going to see him, right? He's in isolation.
Everybody's going to see him like, damn, that's Puff Daddy. Look at him, that's him, that's him. And you talking about he's going to be in there a year before he go to trial.
Well, according to his attorneys, of course, they're going to now, once he's denied that second bond. So let's backtrack there. I think the public believes that you have to be charged with murder not to get a bond. But we in our old line of work know that the big dope man has been denied bond for a long time.
All the time.
And the government is fickle. Your pop's first case, he was out on bond how long? They allowed a rich man like your father?
7, 8 years.
7, 8 years out on bond. In fact, we have the article in 74, after your father's conviction, Judge Fikens tells him, Mr. Jackson, your bond's being increased along with Mr. Garrett and Mr. Brown. I think I need another $275,000. I'm sure you didn't bring it, Mr. Jackson, but I know you got it. I'll give you 3 days. Bring me back the money.
Let me explain one thing different in Mr. Jackson's case and Mr. Combs' case.
Okay.
Mr. Jackson ain't had no white folks in his case.
Ooh. I think that.
He ain't had no white man sitting up there carrying his bag for him, telling on him right now.
I think that's a big deal. No, I think you just hit a big point, though. That even though your father was the reputed largest drug dealer in the Midwest of America, and his
there's
12,
no Doc Gambino there,
but
cosign.
It was happening in his community, and his community was okay with him, and he left those other people's community alone, and he seemed to be treated somewhat nicer than when you start bringing the other community into.
So what community did Puff Daddy
Well,
bring
you said he had a Caucasian was his. I mean, according to the authorities, it was a Caucasian gentleman that was his
bag man.
His bag man.
Yeah.
And I think.
Could you wonder why he would choose a Caucasian man with all the niggas he knows that was handling bags and done handle bags? It's amazing that he would reach out to all these goddamn Caucasians to get him a bag when he know every nigga in Harlem. So I'm trying to figure out why you would think this white boy gonna stand up for you more than one of your brothers in Harlem. And there's plenty of niggas getting money in Harlem that could do the same thing. I'm sure.
I mean, again, and I have to be. I'm rooting for the guy. I don't know the evidence of the case, and I'm actually going to attempt to be an adult about this. He'll have his day in court. I'd like to see all these people who are saying these things, how they stand up under cross-examination of some very talented lawyers that he has.
I could tell you who he ain't going to want to see come in the courtroom, Cassie. He's not going to want to see her for all the goddamn tea in China.
I'm not so sure about that.
How good his lawyers is. Her videotape is going to speak volumes.
Well, what about when his lawyer said, well, Miss Cassie, you say these things, the monster that he is, but wow, you were with that monster for 10 years. He's traveling the world. How many different opportunities did you have to leave that man?
That's why I stayed with him, because we was traveling the world.
When he was there,
I was living a billionaire's life.
Oh, so
but it doesn't
Miss
mean
Cassie,
he was treating me correctly.
Well, in America, we don't put bad husbands and boyfriends in jail.
Here's a question I want to ask. Why didn't Puff Daddy, since he wanted to be a freak off man, all this shit, why didn't he just start a own company and do all this shit legally? He could have just
brought that up, and
that's
a great question.
And Ray J. What made Kim Kardashian famous? So it wouldn't have been bad for Puff Daddy to open up a company and do all this shit he did, act out. Look, John Belushi on Saturday Night Live, when they used to have a scene that say smoke weed, John Belushi would be smoking real weed. On the scene of Saturday Night Live, when they would say snort cocaine, John Belushi would be snorting real cocaine. Now, he could have did the scene and told you it was fake cocaine, and it could have been cocaine.
I want to follow up on this, though, Mr. Jackson.
All this shit
Mr. Jackson, why is the world so outraged by these quote-unquote freak-offs when all people know is freak-offs being filmed?
Why not film it and categorize it?
But I'm confused by all this outrage in the media. And let me tell you guys something. In my old life, anybody who know me know I got 20-some years clean now, right? My brother here saw me sell a lot and probably use more.
Yes.
So I know a little bit about.
Well, you know the party scene more than most.
Yeah.
Put it like that.
I know the party.
You're a party man.
All right. Thank you, sir. So what come with that is people with money and drugs. When you put 10 men and 20 women in a room with music, alcohol, and drugs, they do what men and women like to do. Now, in all my years, and I done been to the parties from LA to Miami to New York, I ain't never found it necessary, or found any of my friends found it necessary. A room full of men with money and dope, you don't have to ask the women to stay. You might have to ask them to leave, but you ain't got to ask them or force them to stay.
Well, it looked like anybody who was goddamn leaving on her own and trying to leave looked like she was sneaking out the room, running down the hallway, pushing the elevator.
Did you hear the explanation of that tape from his lawyer's perspective?
I have not heard of that.
Well, let me help you out, sir. There was a threesome going on. Cassie seemed, which happens. The party starts off fine, and again, and I don't know, so let me be clear, Cassie. I don't want to shade.
This is the story that was.
This is a story that's being told. She seems to be a beautiful young woman, and she was living that life. And I've known many Cassies in my life. Some of us may have dated the same Cassie in our lives.
I wouldn't put that past you, but I'm just saying,
you dated the other. We had a Cassie in our lives. This guy here.
At the same time, I was just like Hall and Oates. It's got to be one-on-one, and it can't be filmed.
Okay,
It's that simple.
but okay. Let me go back. The story that the lawyers are supposing. So I don't know. None of this. The court. All this is going to come out. This is going to be a long, lengthy trial. Mr. Combs has got some of the best attorneys that money can pay for. The U.S. Attorney's Office has got a 90%.
Will he get a bond?
I don't think so. No, I think at some point in this trial he may get a bond, but I think the government right now needs him. And he did some foolish things contacting those witnesses prior to the trial. That was just foolish.
Really,
that was just foolish.
There you go.
That was really foolish. That was naive. That was
now
really
you want to see.
Yeah, that was really naive.
Now you going to that gangster shit.
Yeah, he
didn't.
He didn't understand how the feds work.
And now the witnesses.
And knowing he knows some of the same street guys that we know, he didn't ask them for any advice because they would have told him.
But you know what's really sad?
But anyway, let me hold that thought. So supposedly there was a threesome.
Yeah.
Mr. Combs started giving the other third party more attention than her. I don't know if this is true. Cassie, I'm going to put out the disclaimer. This is what his attorneys say. Does this scenario sound believable to me? Oh, yeah. Have I lived this scenario? Oh, yeah. So the threesome's going on. He's showing the newcomer more attention than his woman.
Okay.
She gets angry.
Okay.
Takes all of his clothes.
Okay.
Puts them in that duffel bag.
Okay.
Runs out the hotel room.
All right.
Which is why he's running out in a towel because all his clothes in socks. Because all his
clothes. She got all his clothes in the duffel bag.
He's obviously under the influence. And we'll get to the fact that as a man in recovery, man, people who got substance abuse problems, you remember me in New York, man. I got shit leaving the house and the goddamn wife beater.
You gotta ask them to understand.
But anyway, that's what they said.
$2.5 billion.
So right, you saw me clown with a few $100,000. Now you can imagine if I'd have had a couple billion. Come on, man.
You'd probably be where Puff was. You asked me. I mean, see, you like to direct the scenes.
Yeah.
Speak on that.
I can speak
now,
on
when you get high, now you want to direct the scene. You want her here. You want him here. You want to even play this out in your mind.
You become the porn Spike Lee. That's right.
See, now we go back to why not just open up a company and make them all them up for sign contract, man, and they couldn't have did nothing to you. Make sure, go phone whatever the legal age is, sign a contract to do all this different, and you off the hook.
Okay, and I ain't gonna put my man out there too much. Shout out to Uncle Doink out there. There was a guy that we friendly with, his family with us.
Oh, the man, Uncle Doink.
Doink guy.
There you go.
Doink was that guy in the town for a while.
Right.
And he was deeply immersed into the strip club scene and the after hours and the party scenes.
All of that,
right?
He was having the freak offs, actually. Uncle Doink was the freak off.
Oh, right. And was anybody mad at Doink
But come on.
Was anybody saying in our day? Now times have changed. Doink was respected when the girls were asking, and we're not the girls asking Doink, could they come to his parties?
Because they getting cashed out. Everybody who entered the door paid $500 to come to the party.
Have you attended one of these parties before?
Yes, quite a few of these parties. But what I'm saying is, we all paid $500. Then you go around to whatever girl you like, and everybody would have their little flashlight and looking all up ass, all this shit. Some of them would want to, some of them wouldn't want if wouldn't want to, but some of them would. You make the right offer, you're gonna get your action on. But see. Was anybody
forced from anybody? Was anybody forced? Was there guns being put on these girls?
And they can leave anytime they wanted.
Matter of fact, though, they was the last ones to leave.
No, they left with him. About the last one. Not only they left with him, they couldn't have left with him.
Thank you.
So I'm just saying that's a correct freak off. Understand? It's a way you do a freak off, then it's a way you just lose your goddamn mind in doing it. Now, I have never used cocaine. I've never snorted. I've smoked before. I own up what I do. I've never snorted.
You did not join in that lifestyle.
What I'm
with
saying
us.
to you is, I can't really speak on how I feel after snorting like he snorts. Because Puff Daddy had a habit, man. He got a monkey on his back right now, man. That motherfucker in the jail cell, he got a roll of toilet paper. His nose is running like a goddamn faucet because he can't get his fix. Well, he can't blow that cocaine. Now, let me tell you what is the after effect of not having it when you gotta have it. That nigga sitting in the bathroom in there, his nose just dry, he dripping dry. It's just dripping dry. I mean, just can't hold.
Well, detox.
He got a cold.
Detox is detox, and detox is rough.
Well, you might as well take that in penitentiary now, because that's where you're gonna be. You might as well clear that shit up.
He's innocent until proven guilty, sir.
Well, but you ain't leaving out of there, so they're gonna drip you dry.
So, your father was denied bond on his last case?
Quite a few.
My father was denied bond.
True.
We were just telling the lawyer that I think Mr. Combs, who flew to New York, and his lawyers, for those that don't understand how this works, when you know you're being indicted, the letters are coming, everybody you know is getting called in for the grand jury. So you know usually that you're going to be under indictment. Dealing with that counterfeit clothing situation, you know, I was under federal subpoena and have appeared before some grand juries. And so that's when I'm telling you how a grand jury works, guys. I'm not speculating. I've been coerced. I've been forced by the authorities. Well, it's not being forced. I was subpoenaed. I was involved. You know, I was subpoenaed, and
so let me ask you something.
And I had to. They make you go before the grand jury.
Now you have said this before. Mm-hmm. Eddie Jackson had the most sophisticated organization.
That's what the government said.
One of the most.
The government said that.
Recent history.
That's what the government.
Eddie
said.
Jackson has had one of the most sophisticated operations to crack. Now let me say something to you. Mm-hmm. If the federal police was following Puff Daddy like they followed my father, how long do you think he would have lasted? With that type of heat on him,
if he would have had the surveillance of your father,
he was doing,
it would have been over a long time ago. A long time ago. I mean, your father was under, as it says in the reports that we've got the news articles, and your father was under 24-hour surveillance for years.
See,
for years.
What if that happened to Puff Daddy? So that it's a big difference. When you got FBI surveillance in you like that, Puff Daddy they'd have been closed him down. That's why I kept telling you, man, that man finna get closed down. Now, he really don't even realize you just traded places with Keefy D. Keefy D on the street and didn't have no goddamn money.
Explain that to the people when you say that.
He just traded place with Keefy D because Keefy D telling and talking like a phone. Now Keefy D ain't got no money and he's on the street, and Puff Daddy got $2.5 billion and he can't get a bond. Now how the fuck he feel now? Keefy D out free and ain't got 50 cents in his goddamn pocket. Puff Daddy pockets overrunning and he can't get a bond. Now who you think really won in the end? Keefy D and Puff Daddy then traded places. Keefy D on the street and Puff Daddy locked the fuck up for 23 hours, well 24 hours a day, but 23 hours a day, and he only get out of his cell for 1 hour a day.
They will eventually appeal that bond to the higher court, so you know that, right?
No man, he gonna get
No,
one.
I don't think they want to give him a bond.
Because he's a flight risk.
I don't think they want to give him
At this point in his life, he's a flight risk. Any case, any charge that carries 20 years at this point, and he's over 50 years old, you don't have to give him a bond.
Well,
because the time with the charge is too much. You'll run off.
That's what Judge Dugan, shout out to R.I.P. Patrick Dugan, was the last sentencing judge, who actually was a very fair man, who was the father of the current mayor of Detroit, Michael Dugan. Yeah. But he denied my father's bond, and his justification, even though my mom was willing to put up a substantial amount of, she was willing to put up all of her real estate portfolio. Chuck Goldfarb told the feds when the lawyers were putting together Pop's bond package, whatever cash amount you need, I'll put up. You guys tell me how much to put up. And Dugan told him, Mr. Brown, there's no amount of property or money that will guarantee you coming back to court at your age.
Yeah.
It actually was a reasonable position.
But now, what was Mr. Brown's argument?
That I've been involved in the Jackson organization. We were out on bond for 7 years. We never missed one court date. After we were found guilty, you guys gave us 6 months to get our affairs in order. Me and the other 30 members self-surrendered. Mr. Jackson, your pops had already
got caught going to Las Vegas with that bullshit. See, that's that Puff Daddy bullshit.
Your dad.
See, I'm gonna tell y'all
your dad
something.
already.
Sometimes you can have too much goddamn money. You can think you can do anything and you can't. And you're gonna play with the motherfucking federal government and you're gonna find out no matter how much goddamn money you got, it ain't gonna be enough. Ask Mr. Weinstein that. And I think he had a few more dollars more than Puff Daddy, if you ask me.
And a lot more connections.
There you go. So now
Most
he's
powerful
sitting
man
in
in
goddamn
Hollywood.
jail, and Puff Daddy thinks
But
he ain't gonna sit in
In
jail.
defense, just again for the record, there is no reports of minors or anything like that being involved. But I don't think it was in Weinstein's case either, was it?
Man, you fucked all of Hollywood, fucked up all of them. Now you gonna talk about, see, you done let me just tell you the truth. If I was Puff Daddy, I would be sitting right next to Russell Simmons right now. What's up, my man, Russ? What we gonna smoke tonight? Who we gonna smoke tonight, Russ?
Well, you know what? We did a post in the Dominican Republic
When
called
Russ
Fight or
left,
Flee.
I would have motherfucking left with Russell Simmons. We would have left them together hand in hand.
Well, now, let me be honest, though, Mr. Jackson. You have said on your station, by the way, that's Real True Street Crimes, right?
That's right.
And then you're also on Patreon.
You got it. America Real True Street Crime on Patreon. That's right.
And you're on Real True Street Crimes.
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
That's right. The
On
red
your
dot
platform.
and the real shoes. The red shoes.
The red dots and the red shoes.
There you go.
On your channel, you have said more than one post about you've been kind of hard on guys who've copped out. To be honest, my friend, you've been hard on guys that've copped out.
Yes, I have.
You've been kind of hard on guys who fled.
Yes, I have. Not on John Classen.
Or Marion Wakefield. And you
got to know when to go. When you got enough goddamn sense, when it's time to go, it's time to go now. Puff Daddy wore out his goddamn welcome card. If he ain't realized it was time to go, Russell Simmons knew, hey man, it's time to go. I done wore out my motherfucking welcome. It's time to go. But Puff Daddy thinking, oh, I'm going to beat the case. Oh, I got so much money, I'm going to beat the case. I could have told him right there. Jimmy Hoffa could have told him.
you're going to jail.
You're going to jail.
Yeah.
Richard Nixon could have told him.
Yeah.
You're going to have to resign.
And then I'm going to pardon you because I don't feel like locking up the president.
No,
but you're not the
you going to live
president.
in Trump Towers. Understand that? After you resign, you're going to live in Trump Towers.
yeah.
That's what Richard Nixon
Nixon did.
did.
That's a fact.
After he resigned, he went and lived in Trump
He sure
Towers.
did with Madonna and Herschel Walker.
That's where he went to live. So he show you where they went. Understand that. So Puff Daddy, if he had any goddamn sense, I'll be sitting right next to motherfucking Russell Simmons right now talking cash.
Or you introduced to old John Claxton or old Marion Wakefield.
If they're still around.
Frank Matthews.
Yeah, I was about to say that on the New York Legend. Frank Matthews
say,
you know how they
Frank,
say in heaven, Frank might walk right up, sit down, hey, what's happening, y'all? Y'all made it. Understand that. Y'all motherfuckers made it. Puffy and Russell and me. Understand that.
And meet my friend Marion and John.
There you go.
We ain't been back to America in a long time.
John started it all. John was the first to do it.
Yes, he was.
That's what people really don't realize about John Classen. And as I tell you, I do a Street Corner Boys series. John is going to be delicious. Y'all going to love the stories about John Classen. And I hate to say this to y'all, and I have to say this. Y'all going to love stories about my man Benjamin Kincaid, world famous.
He's speaking for Real True Street Crimes right now.
I'm telling y'all, this is strictly Real True Street Crimes that I'm speaking for. The stories that I'm going to tell on those brothers is world famous. And as I say,
But shout out to the
world was homosexual, and hey, looked like Puff Daddy was homosexual too. God damn it, he might have something in common.
Well,
with
speaking
Puff
of
Daddy.
that, but you notice how now with the feds and to show you the times we live in America, there's all these reports of these homosexual acts.
Yeah.
But they really are downplaying that part about it.
Yeah.
It's all about the women.
But see, here's the key.
And I just find that odd. I just find that really odd.
So much incriminating evidence on everybody.
Allegedly.
Because of those tapes.
Allegedly.
Look.
Allegedly. None of this has been proven.
Anything the government wants to be told will be told.
Well, they told about 1,000 jars of baby oil or whatever.
Oh, it's more to come. It's more to come. It's more to come.
But I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you that the feds lie.
That is bullshit.
Women.
That's total bullshit.
Let's get people
jars of baby oil.
The federal government.
It's total bullshit.
It's total bullshit.
That's just for you all in the public. That's bullshit. Because that ain't no evidence of any crime.
Right, none. And then didn't during your guys' case, didn't they take different conversations you guys are having?
They call it excerpts.
And then they take it and then they mixed it all back together.
But see, here's the problem. Excerpt conversations is conversations that are cut and spliced. When they show you a whole tape, a whole scene that's never been cut, because he's Richard Nixon. You defending Richard Nixon with all the goddamn
you
White
mean by
House
recording, but by recording all your activity.
Only Richard would do that. And Puff Daddy must have thought he was Richard Nixon to be sitting down recording all this dumb shit he's doing.
He's gonna have a day in court.
Richard Nixon had a day in court too.
No,
he had to resign.
He got pardoned. He got pardoned.
Yeah, he ain't got no Ford in his future. Well, maybe Trump will pardon him.
But prosecutors have been known to sometimes stretch the truth, right? The U.S. attorneys have been known to stretch the truth.
It was easier for my man Henry Ross Black to sell that with all this video and taped evidence and taped conversations. It's hard to make him. I'd say he didn't see what he seen.
But there's no law against grown people getting high having sex. There's no law against grown people getting high having sex.
Where's R. Kelly pissing on women at?
You're funny.
Where is R. Kelly pissing on women at right here today?
Speaking of that, our community knew and had seen that R. Kelly tape. I'm just confused how all this outrage. I mean, what he did or didn't do, we about to find out. But all of these podcasts where people are like, oh, I can't believe he was involved in this freak off. Y'all like Don Juan Bishop, and shout out to the great Don Juan the Bishop. He a pimp.
We always like pimps and hoes.
So why we getting all funny style with this puppy thing?
This is a little different.
What they accusing them? Judge Joe Brown say
paying a woman, taking her, fucking her, and she clipping you out your goddamn wallet, and you probably whoop her ass for that. Other than taking a bitch, she get high and want to leave, you can't go nowhere.
I've never stuck again.
What happened to Rick James? Let's use Rick James for a goddamn episode. Unless if you really want to be really motherfucking cautious, you better watch out for T.I. and Tiny with they shit coming up.
Well, again, these are grown people living their life. And I want all these tough street gangster people online who all of a sudden now have gotten so squared that they can't believe that this kind of stuff goes on. I don't know what outside they've been at. They went outside when we was outside.
Hi, this is Al Prophet. You might know me from YouTube. Courtney Brown and Lou are doing their Patreon. We're moving over from YouTube to a lot of exclusive content only visible on their Patreon. So go to the Big Boss Filmworks Patreon for a lot of exclusive content and not saddled by commercials and not saddled by the vagaries of what you can and can't show on YouTube.
Appreciate that, fam. So yeah, fam, we got a lot of hot stuff coming. We're moving over some stuff that we have put out that for whatever reason got relocated, never got the attention that it was supposed to. And then we got some fresh stuff that's been done, a lot of stuff here with our content partner and American Dope, Al Prophet, and then some internal stuff, some exclusive interviews with street legends all over the country.
Uncut raw.
So a lot
of have to deal with YouTube censoring and all that.
Certain specific details of some of the things from the 40 years that the family was in the streets that we just could not go into on YouTube. We can do it on Patreon. So we think it's going to be freeing. We're going to really be able to give you guys some raw, uncut stuff. And it's going to be hot, man. I'm looking forward to it. So again, Patreon. Holla at your man.
I agree with
people
that
don't.
totally.
Yeah, but see, people ain't seen both sides of it. You know, and we talked about it with Kavar. You saw me serve people at noon and then be buying the shit back from them at night.
Let me just
you know,
Daddy with this one.
I've been out there like
from
that. It can
one
happen.
of the greatest entertainers of my lifetime, Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Jackson said this: they make as much money off of you as when they were selling your name and selling you Biggie, Mary J, 112, all of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Made a lot of money off y'all. But I guarantee you, they making just as much money tearing Puff Daddy down right now as they made building Puff Daddy up as
without
Rock
question.
King in the tuxedo, beautiful look, all of this. Now I guarantee you, the media is making just as much money tearing him down as they made building him up.
And you think there's some people who gonna testify against him? That you think all the people in this circle gonna stand up?
Ain't not one of them gonna stand up. Yeah, if it's 50 in the case, 50 will testify against him. He might wind up testifying against his own goddamn self if he ain't careful.
I think the difference also we were talking about back in our day, those are real guys who were and real girls. I mean, these were women who lived a certain lifestyle. There were guys that lived a certain lifestyle, and there was none of that. It was what gangsters do, and what broads who live that life do, and they wanted a good time and their cash rewards, and guys wanted a good time and wanted to spend
But
some
you
cash.
didn't get the kind of access he got. The kind of access he got on Hollywood. So you ain't realizing the kind of access he got.
I mean, again, I think he was obviously the drugs impair people's decision making. People make very poor decisions, and when you get and as you spoke, as you said earlier, money can be a drug all in and of itself, man.
It is.
Money's a drug all in and of itself, man. That money will drive you nuts, And he ain't the first.
You can believe that.
He ain't the first that the money that drove crazy.
Look, the money drove my father crazy. At a point, anybody gonna be delirious with money because they're gonna think everybody want that money. So it's gonna actually run anybody crazy, and it actually alienates you from everybody else because you're already thinking everybody wants your money.
Yeah.
So automatically you alienated from all of your people. But see, you got to keep that connection.
To
like
reality.
OJ had.
To reality.
See, goddamn it, see, OJ had that kind of connection with
Rest
the
in
people
peace.
you want.
Rest in peace, Orenthal
Look, I got
James.
to give OJ credit.
Rest
Him
in
and Johnny
peace.
Cochran went to work. Now that's the greatest feat of work I seen.
And I'm
in the
glad you brought
courtroom
that
yet.
case up.
Now, that's the
Everybody,
greatest feat I seen.
everybody after the Bronco chase, and the government leaked all this stuff. Everybody just knew OJ was going to jail. He was also, of course, denied bond, but I always see it was a double murder he was being charged with. So of course,
There you go.
Of course, he was going to be
There you
denied
go.
bond.
Yeah.
Right? So they denied his bond, and so he had to be incarcerated throughout his entire trial. But he assembled truly the best legal team at his time that he could assemble.
So let me ask you a question.
And did he not walk out that
Let me ask
courtroom
you
a free
question.
man?
So who Puff Daddy got defending him?
I can't think of the guy's name off. I mean, he comes, obviously, he's supposed to be one of the best
But I mean,
criminal
but
defense.
let's be honest.
He's supposed to be one of the
You
best.
just said the key to it. When the fat man walked in the courtroom,
He had the best
he had Milton Henry and Henry Ross Black defending
Backed up
him.
by Shelley
Wasn't
Harper.
no
and,
one goddamn lawyer, and they had a team of
Lawyers
lawyers defending
wouldn't
him.
have-
The other
32
defendants. Understand this.
So,
So you telling me this man gonna have one lawyer
No.
handle
No.
this case?
No. He's got a team of lawyers. He's
No
got-
Barry, Shaq, none of these super lawyers from the OJ case. Well, see, we know he'd have Johnny because he used Johnny before, but Johnny is
long
gone.
gone. But I think people should remember that it looked like O.J. Simpson was going to get life, and O.J. Simpson walked out of the courtroom a free man.
But see, I love to fight now. I want to see the attorneys. That's what I just asked you. Nigga, bring some attorneys on this so we can see the fight. Bring some bad motherfuckers in here to fight the fight.
What we do know is he has a,
But now, see, here's the key.
money's
He
not
might
an issue.
have a team of lawyers like Donald Trump got.
Well, Mr. Trump has an army of lawyers.
Ain't very good.
Well, I think when you're fighting the U.S. government and they hate you, that's all.
Well, that's the only point I'm making.
You're not going to make me go down that rabbit hole because I'm not trying to get kicked off of YouTube.
The only point I'm making is it don't seem as if
Mr.
they won
Illuminati,
one case.
Mr. Illuminati.
They lost 60 election cases. They lost a case in New York. God damn, they ain't won one case. We was counting. They'd be owing motherfucking for 70.
Public service
God
announcement.
Damn. At
Public
what
service
point,
announcement.
Fishman ain't lost a case.
Mr. Illuminati. Mr. Jackson is speaking for himself, Mr. Illuminati.
Yes.
And
Would
I don't know.
Pick a better legal team to defend you?
Man, I don't think Jesus can make Trump win a case, man. Mr. Illuminati. He may be Mr. Illuminati. He may be Mr. Dark State.
Look at Rudy Giuliani. He's supposed to be a bad man. Rudy Giuliani come up there dripping makeup, talking crazy. What is he doing up there?
The Pope can't beat these cases.
But why would you put Rudy up there with that bullshit? Insulting New Lace. Now he owed them $400 million.
Hey.
Well, he just went up there and did a bang-up job.
Judge Joe Brown was on let me give these guys their due credit. Good interview. Judge Joe Brown was on Viral Hip Hop.
Yeah.
And he believes that this whole thing with Puff is a smokescreen, that the problem, Mr. Combs' real problem is the people who attended that party are some very high-profile people, some who may even be very closely connected to this upcoming election.
We would say that, true. I would agree with that.
That may be the actual root of his problem, because Joe Brown brought up an interesting thing, that Puff had 3 homes. Down there where you're at in Miami, he's got 2 mansions on Star Island right next to each other. Mm-hmm. And then he's got his mansion in Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. The feds raided the Beverly Hills house and only one of the Florida ones, the one where all the cameras was at. Mm-hmm. So it's Judge Joe Brown says, well, just common sense, you're there. Why don't you take a peek into the other house? Seemed the only thing they were interested in was the video recordings.
Well, here's what I see. I see an informant working with the government. Now that's what you see in that. The government already know exactly what they want because the informant had told them where the cash and goods is at. Here's where you want to hit. And only somebody inside the clique could know that. Fucking with the tapes, recording the tapes. Whoever was recording the tapes is who put them up on them. Because whoever recorded them know they're there, know they've been made. And know who in them. And that's what you keep saying. If they ever reveal those tapes,
it's going to be a problem. But as you see,
it's going to bring Hollywood down to its knees.
Jeffrey Epstein's information is yet to be made public. So when those high-profile people...
I think his will never be made public either.
That's what Judge Joe Brown brought up.
Mr.
Illuminati, again, I'm repeating what Judge Joe Brown said. I have no opinion.
I don't think they will ever be bought out. I really don't.
That was Viral Hip Hop, Mr. Illuminati, where this was recorded. Yeah. We at Big Boss Filmworks have no opinion on any of these things because we tell gangster stories about Negroes in the projects who cap up jive. We don't have any of these things that are above our pay grade here at Big Boss Filmworks. We stay out of you people's business.
You act like the man that's handling 1,000 keys of cocaine don't get to come to the party. I am the goddamn party. What's wrong with you? Well, ain't gonna be no goddamn party unless I come to it.
Hey, that's why this is the thing that, you know, in our music and in our culture, we glorify all this gangster behavior. And now that this kind of story comes out about what people live in that life, how they're really living, everybody's pretending like they're shocked and appalled. And, I can't believe he was involved in a freak-off. What do you think Hollywood is but one big freak-off?
I would have just made tapes and shit. I told you.
Well, you make up a point. If he had a phone company, if everything he's being accused,
he should have opened up a company.
If he'd had a company,
man, he'd have been richer than Kim Kardashian to this day. Ray J and Kim got paid. Ray J didn't get paid too well, but Kim made a goddamn fortune. Ray J around there looking for food stamps for goddamn Kim living in Hollywood.
Owning Hollywood.
Beverly Hills, as a matter of fact.
All that. But it's true that if what they're saying is true outside of the forcing and the beating people, if organizing men and women and taping them in sexual enterprise, that is the porn industry. Puff was in porn, he just didn't have distribution.
Can I ask you an honest question?
And by the way, 70% of all searches online are porn. So I want to know, wait a minute, just let me get to the, hold that question. America, if you're so outraged by what y'all say was going on at these freak-offs, why is 70% of all the searches on the internet porn? Saying to me, America is in the freak-off. This is the freak-off capital of the world. Because they all online.
Look at your president, ex-president is storming.
Well,
everybody loves a good porno movie.
Well, I can't tell by the way these people are
Daddy should have made porno movies and been the next greatest porno movie of all times. He could have bought us the stars in porno.
If we ever get them tapes, somebody, you did it, might break off those little tapes.
He might be swinging from a rope to goddamn tapes come out. You ain't gonna see
we do not want that. And again, that man is innocent.
So leave them goddamn.
But you had a question. You were about to say something.
You made me forget. Oh, I was saying now, when you handling the bag like your dad.
Okay.
Now, how would motherfucking anybody around him?
Oh, you're talking about the Motown party or something?
No, I'm talking about like John the Baptist.
Okay. All right.
Like George, Schoolyard George.
Okay.
Motherfuckers cling to you, man.
Yes.
All you have to do is make a suggestion, and the motherfucker gonna do it. So you don't have to tell a nigga to do nothing. All you gotta do is have a bag.
That's
and
right.
Niggas getting high. I done told you, man. I done served Channel 50, Channel 2, and Channel 7. Now, reporters like to get high just as well as motherfuckers.
So you mean some of these reporters that are passing judgment on Mr. Combs?
I know they get high for goddamn show. But see, here we go. Let's separate it. They ain't goddamn out here holding motherfuckers hostages trying to make porno videos with them.
Well,
they just trying to get out on some cocaine, possibly get a piece of pizza, which you and I know when they start using the cocaine, they ain't gonna get no goddamn pizza. So you and I both know that. So they only playing with their own goddamn mind when it come to that.
But the fantasy, again, people under the influence, that fantasy life, we're just trying to keep it really open.
I bet you Daddy's dick couldn't get hard.
He might have had some medical help.
I bet you $1,000 he couldn't get hard.
I'm not gonna go there.
Blowing all that goddamn cocaine, I bet you he couldn't get hard.
You know, the better it is.
I bet you any amount of goddamn money he couldn't get hard blowing that much goddamn cocaine. You and I both know it.
Well, you should.
That's why he won't just watch it. He just was a peak goddamn freak after he got high off the cocaine. He wasn't gonna fuck. But ain't that what? No, he wasn't gonna fuck. He just want to watch. Damn, let me see this shit. You said one motherfucker just want to watch you fuck his wife.
Again, that lifestyle, you will find some very in the big city of New York.
He told you leave the door open. Goddamn it, don't close the door.
Oh, dude.
You close the door, he coming open the door back, goddamn. You close the door, goddamn, the party up, goddamn, you better open that door back.
There's voyeurs out there. He likes to watch this woman get whatever.
I'm just saying. Now, what was wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing. Wasn't nothing wrong with that. Nothing.
Except for I kept closing the door.
Well, that's about it. But I'm saying anything else wasn't nothing wrong with it.
No, consenting adults doing what consenting adults want to do. I mean, that's why I can't be a hypocrite with this situation. that was a long time ago. Again, I got 20 years clean, guys. So I'm talking about a different lifetime ago. But in that lifetime, I have been in some parties.
You and Wesley used to be in the stall at nails snorting coke and shit.
I've got Wesley, Tyson.
All the motherfuckers in nails getting high in the stall.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. And New York and Puff comes from that era, and I'm not making any excuses. But the America that Puff came up with in our day in the 80s and 90s, it was different. This kind of soft, half wishy-washy guys who was outside living that lifestyle. Like, say you be at the club, the hottest clubs in New York, and
niggas in there blowing in the bathroom.
Just the woman's bathroom was a damn near.
I say the Palladium.
Oh, I mean, when Mariah Carey was asking to come in the VIP with us, and we didn't know who she was. When Pretty Girls Want to Be Where the guys with the money and the drugs are.
They all go together.
Now, Mr. Illuminati, let me be clear. I'm not condoning any of this behavior. I'm just speaking personal experiences of during my substance abuse days.
That's a wonderful
the kind of behavior.
Those are wonderful memories, though. They can't go to waste.
And then
Might as
again,
well not waste them.
right, that we didn't coerce anybody. You know, it's the government can tell
They
you.
don't never sleep, goddammit. They'll stay up for a week or two on that shit.
Yeah, and
Never go to sleep.
And
I
after
be
that
out in
third-
the coast, car sleep like a motherfucker. They and nails going on and on and on. Man,
That's right. When next the night when I
that's that
250
night. I
out.
told you we came into town, man. I was so goddamn tired. Y'all niggas getting high blow. Then you and Tracy all in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I told I had a hell of a run in Cincinnati. You and Tracy, I was dropping mescaline in.
Yes.
And y'all was blowing cocaine and we was dropping mescaline.
Shout out to Jabba the Hutt.
Tracy.
Shout out to Jabba the Hutt.
Man, the most beautiful memories in history.
We had a great time there.
High off mescaline in Cincinnati, chasing hoes.
But you know, nowadays, man, they say that that's bad stuff. We were young guys with $2 having some
Well,
fun.
see, now we married. Those are old.
Yeah, they're old
We were
memories.
sowing our raw oats. Just remember that. Those were the days we were sowing our raw
And times
oats.
were different back then, man.
Well, no foul, no harm.
Yeah, we weren't harming nobody, everybody, you know, and
I just got
I
the
just want the
ball.
audience, especially younger guys, it wasn't always like this, man. This was long before the Me Too and all of that, and guys acted like guys.
Let me just borrow one from the late great Bonnie Mac. In them old trailer park hoes always ran our pockets, nigga, so them bitches didn't have no problem, cause they left with all the goddamn
Yeah.
money.
Yes, they
so
did.
what the fuck? And looking for a nigga the next day, man. Them hoes was a back in the day.
We looking back as older, we may have been the victim. They may have well been.
There you go. They came off on top.
Yeah.
Shit. Man, come on.
Yeah, very much so. Looking back on it, we may have been the mark.
You know,
We were the prey.
those were the days,
Those were the
man.
days.
I
So-
never forget that lifestyle, man. And those, money was a premium. Money wasn't a problem, man. And I keep telling y'all, cocaine come to the party for anybody else. Because before the party started, they calling, man, bring me the cane before people get here, man. Make sure you get here with the bag, man. I be there before they get there. During the middle of the party, at the double end, nigga, they gonna be hanging for 5 days. In the old days, these niggas ain't even got enough money to party for 5 days.
No, that was a different time.
These niggas go out now.
Quick party.
Yeah, these niggas would be out in the
Out of
hour,
money and
man.
dope for the
Niggas
bras.
party for
Bras ain't
5
even took their
days.
clothes
goddamn
off
it.
yet.
5 days. And you be like, hey man, I can't go nowhere. I gotta go serve them.
Yeah.
You keep your shit on them, man. I remember Minjo's in Highland Park, man. God
Oh yeah,
damn.
we're dealing with that community. That's a special party community there.
See, I keep telling you about world. I don't pick and choose and discriminate. If your money is green, I'ma make it. God damn it, I ain't got nothing against homosexual, gay,
I have nothing
lesbian
against people living their life.
I have no problem. Look, Miss Roby, William Harmon. Man, Miss Roby was about to... See, and I used to tell the story about Miss Roby, and it fucked me up when KK actually knew
He knew
Miss
her.
Roby.
Yeah.
Miss
Shout out to the
Roby.
homie KK.
I keep telling you, man.
Shout
Miss
out to the
Roby,
homie
man,
KK.
them was the days, man. I ain't
And
never
shout out to Sticks again.
discriminate, and their money was as green as the rest, and a lot of time longer than the rest, goddammit.
I don't pass in judgment. Lord knows when it comes to business, customers.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't
Customers
trying to
are
fuck
customers.
you, and you ain't gonna fuck me, so we just doing a business transaction.
Business is business. And,
You know, and I
who else do
don't
we see? Oh,
discriminate.
shout out another Project Legend we just saw down at KK's event, Pat Rob. Shout out to
There
the
you
big
go,
homie
brother
Pat Rob.
Peace and love,
Pat
brother
Rob.
Pat Rob. Peace and love. Stay up, baby.
Saw
Stay
your buddy
up.
Peas.
Peace, brother. Peace and love to brother Peace.
Yeah,
man. Stay up. Peace and love, and wish your father well for me, man. Peace and love. Never no hard feelings, I hope.
Yeah, and
Peace and love to brother
yeah,
Peas.
the whole Project crew still hanging on, man.
Yeah, it's good to see him, man. That's where it all started.
Oh,
at,
Bruce,
man. That's what I've been
brother
trying to
Sticks,
talk
the
about.
brother was always down there.
But I just want to say
he was
this.
in 5th grade with your dad.
They was talking
It's an old
about
time in the country.
Harmon Gardens.
Harmon
Tell me
Gardens.
the most famous niggas y'all know from Harmon Gardens. One guy threw out at the comment, I was talking about the Brewsters and the Jeffries. Said, man, there was some mean guys come from Harmon Garden. Tell me a couple of the brothers from Harmon Garden and tell me about them. I might want to talk about Harmon Garden, because I know a few niggas from over there on Joy Road. See if it might match
Extra
up.
9 crew. Shout out to the Extra 9. Yeah, so if you guys know anything about the history of Herman Gardens, because during its day they was number 3 behind the Brewsters and the Jeffries, but they were famous. They was famous.
I really don't. I remember one person from there, but they still doing their thing. I don't really want to throw them out there.
Yeah.
I only remember one from Harmon Gardens to this day that's still out there getting money, man. Only one. Yeah, only one.
So we hope we just tried to give you guys some perspective on this.
Before you guys go.
Oh, shout out, that's Big Lou. Big Lou on injured reserve right now, y'all. So y'all, we keep Big Lou. Big Lou is on the mend right now, but he ain't gone. He what they call him NFL injured. He's on injured reserve, but he came like a trooper to the office today.
We got to pull him off the bench, baby. We got to bring him off.
We just waiting to get doctor's clearance.
Yeah, we got to bring him off the injured reserve, and we said peace and love and thank you.
But go ahead, Lou. What was you about to say?
Hey, one. I wanted you guys to go over the story you were telling. The French Road story you were just telling.
Which one?
About the arrest and you know the pass off.
Yeah.
So let me get the first.
You set it up. You set it up.
So you had a mini. I mean, this gentleman
That's
here.
a good one.
Again, to quote the philosopher poet Kendrick Lamar, "Y'all not like us. Y'all really not like him."
All right, this is Al Prophet. You might know me from YouTube. Courtney Brown and Lou are doing their Patreon. We're moving over from YouTube to a lot of exclusive content only visible on their Patreon. So go to the Big Boss Filmworks Patreon for a lot of exclusive content and not saddled by commercials and not saddled by the vagaries of what you can and can't show on YouTube.
Appreciate that, fam. So yeah, fam, we got a lot of hot stuff coming. We're moving over some stuff that we have put out that for whatever reason got relocated, never got the attention that it was supposed to. And then we got some fresh stuff that's been done, a lot of stuff here with our content partner and American Dope, Al Prophet, and then some internal stuff, some exclusive interviews with street legends all over the country.
Uncut raw.
So a lot
of have to deal with YouTube censoring and all that.
Certain specific details of some of the things from the 40 years that the family was in the streets that we just could not go into on YouTube. We can do it on Patreon. So we think it's going to be freeing. We're going to really be able to give you guys some raw, uncut stuff. And it's going to be hot, man. I'm looking forward to it. So again, Patreon. Holla at your man.
From the makers of Motown Mafia, beyond the headlines, beyond the crime, beyond the glamours and gold, they don't run around the streets. They run the streets. Beyond Street Dreams. Documentary coming soon to Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Pluto TV.